Hello everyone, you're welcome to our channel today. This is Family Aspect. Today I want to be sharing something with you guys, so I want you to join me from wherever you are. This is a live stream, and also I want to thank every new subscribers that have been on our list for a couple of days. You guys are welcome. Thank you for joining us. Every subscribers, you guys are amazing. I'm so excited to have you guys on board. Thank you for coming. You guys are you have been making my day for a couple of days now. I mean, I'm amazed to see the kind of huge turnout that I've received from from subscribers. We have a lot of people coming into our channel. Amazing. So thank you guys for joining us. You're all welcome. And if you're just watching right now, I want you to just make a comment on the comment section to let us know where you're watching from. I would really appreciate to know where you're watching from and who is watching right now. Thank you for joining us. Well, I have something amazing I want to share with every one of you today. So I wanted to participate on this. This is going to be awesome. This is going to be mind-blowing. And it is about a divorce state that we find that many marriages are in. So we want to talk about this particular topic today, which is, should you divorce a spouse who cheated on you? Should you divorce a spouse who cheated on you? Yes, that is our discussion today, and we are live. Should you divorce a spouse that cheats on you? If a spouse cheats on you, should you divorce that person? That is our discussion today. All right, if you're watching anywhere from everywhere or wherever you're watching from, just indicate where you're watching from. I'd like to share, give a shout out to you quickly. Yes. So now, I understand the situation that many people go through. I understand that it's not easy to just come up with the idea that, oh, someone is being divorced, and then what should I do? What should be the next step to take? You know, it hurts. I understand that it hurts. It's not a good experience. It hurts deeply. The person you trusted, the one with whom you have shared your life, and became involved with someone else. It hurts. It's a very terrible pain. You're thinking what happened to your trust? What happened to your love? What happened? A lot of that thought goes through our minds. A lot of that thought goes through our minds. What happened to knowing the right from wrong? I will not blame you personally. I don't blame people that think that way when their spouse decide to cheat on them. I don't blame them when they think that way. All right. If your partner, imagine if your partner lied, even the pain of lying can even drive you crazy. It goes deep into your soul. It goes deep into your soul. If your partner should just lie, that alone can cause a lot of pain. Imagine you probably think, who is this person? I thought I know this, my partner. Who is this man or woman that I've been married to? Who is this person that will hurt me like this? You never thought they will violate their own moral principles, moral obligations. You never thought they will violate their own vows. You never thought that they will violate their own beliefs. I understand that. Now you think, I don't know who my partner is anymore. I don't know. I don't know who is this guy, who is this woman. I don't know who my partner is anymore. You feel hurt right now. I can tell. Remember, hurt can turn to anger, maybe even rage, not only at your spouse, but at others, even the person that they got involved with. You have rage, anger toward that person. And this person who is actually has a very little concern for someone else's family. He has a very little concern for someone else's family. A person so selfish, very selfish, that they think only of themselves and only what they want. There are many of them in town. There are many of them chasing after marriages to destroy them. They are only selfish. All they want is what they want. You see, they are concerned about themselves. Selfish in nature. They have no concern about other people's family. They are not bothered what happened to your family. Terrible people. Maybe you even have a question, or you have questioned yourself, what is wrong with me? What is wrong with me? How come I'm in this kind of relationship? What is wrong with me? I understand. There's nothing wrong with you in reality. Sometimes you just have to look at certain situations and feel, I don't know why this is happening. I understand. I get it. I understand. I don't blame you. If you're watching me right now, this is a live stream. It's not pre-recorded. I can't blame you, all right, for anything that you feel about your husband or your wife that cheated on you right now. I can't blame you. All right. And the other person, think about it. I understand what you're going through. But here's the thing. I want to work with you today on this situation. You see, I want to work with you guys today on this situation. All right? And I want to give you what I feel may be right. Because the question is, should you actually divorce a spouse that cheated on you? Should you? And I said, I have my reasons, and I want to share my reasons why you shouldn't. But before you go on to say, well, what do you have to say? I want you to listen to this. If you're watching me for the first time, I want you to hit the subscribe button, right? Subscribe to the channel, and then hit the bell notification. All right, so you can receive all our videos. You will not miss anything. We upload videos every week, every day, and every week on relationship, marriage, dating, advice, Christian marriages, relationship, what you can think of, any situation that you might face, communication, and even getting back your ex. We encourage that as well. So subscribe to the channel. You don't want to miss anything. And for those of you already subscribed, thank you for being there. Now, let's go back to what we're talking about. I know a lot of you have come a long way. There are many marriages that have come a long way, but all through ups and downs, which many marriages experience. All right. But I want to help some of us who are willing to be helped. You see, I want to work with you. That when I mean help, I'm standing to work together with you. I want to work with you and share some thoughts with you. All right. We might take this idea away from the platform later. Some of you will have to call. Some of you have to send me an email. Some of you have to sign up with me to join hands with you for a program that can help. All right. It's very important. Now, sometimes what is known as an emotional affair, let me explain this first of all. Even marriages where there has been an affair, like we're talking about today, sometimes we have concern with emotional affairs. I care about that because that is where a great hurt comes from, a great pain comes from. All right, let me see those of you watching. Yes, hello, consistent place. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate you. Thank you for joining us. Awesome. You know, it's an amazing thing. Thank you guys for joining, for watching anywhere you're watching from. Just let us know, make a comment about where you're watching from and who is watching. I would like to give a shout out to you. So I'm looking at the screen now. That's why you see I'm looking away from the camera. I'm looking at the screen so I can see who is commenting and who is not commenting. But I want you to pay attention what I have to share, and your comments will be very, very acceptable in this platform today. I want you to make your comment. I want you to say something about what you think. All right, there's no harm in airing your opinion. Okay, I want you to understand that. All right, now I truly do care about your heart. If your spouse have cheated on you, I do care about your heart. I know what you're going through is hurting, it's painful. All right, but if you decide, all right, to divorce this person who has failed you, if you decide to divorce this person who has failed your marriage, I could not blame you one bit. Trust me, I will not blame you one bit for that action. It is your right. It is your right. If that is what you wish to do, okay? I want you to listen to me carefully. If that is what you wish to do, you have the right to do it. But there's something inside of you that I believe that there's something inside of you, even right now, irrespective of the hurt and anger. There's something inside of you that wants to know if there is a way to put your marriage back together. You can tell there's something inside you that want to know if there's something that can be done. And that is the person I'm actually talking to. That if you feel that way, you are what this program is for, this live stream. I'm doing this recording because of you. You know that you've been hurt. I understand. I agree with you. And if you choose that you want to walk away from the marriage and divorce your spouse, I won't blame you for doing that. You have the right to do it. No one is against you for doing that. But there's something more I want you to know. Inside of you, you agree with me, you really don't want to go through this. You really don't want to take this action. You know it. It's deep down in you. And you wish there is a way you can make things better. Yeah. I want to work with you if you're like that. And that's what this program is for. I want to help you see what is possible and what can be done. Okay? Now, hello guys, if you're watching, like I said, your comment is amazing. If you put your comment, whatever, I want to know a feedback as I'm talking. I want to be getting feedback from you guys. So I know I'm not talking over my head. That's just live stream now we're doing. So I want to know that you're following. And if you have any question, don't hesitate to just be dropping it. And if you agree with what I'm saying, go ahead and say what you agree with. Okay, it's very important. All right, now. Maybe it's your friend or even your family, and they are telling you, come on, you can't stay in that marriage. You can't stay there. He has to pay for what he's done. She has to pay for what she's done. They are telling you all of that. I understand. Divorce makes it even a tough one, a tough decision. You know, you want to punish the person who did this thing to you. It can be very hard, painful, stressful. I understand that. But yet, look at you. You're watching this video right now. You are still here. I want to assume that you are watching this video means that you have a choice about whatever this marriage will produce. In other words, you have a choice whether this marriage will continue. You are choosing, you are thinking, you're considering. In other words, your spouse hasn't run off with that other person yet. Okay? And they know what they have done is wrong. They know. Now, I want to assume this. Remember, I said, I want to assume, all right, that this is what you want. You want the marriage to continue. And you are aware that your spouse is aware about what he has done or she has done. All right? They know that they have done something wrong. And also, they want to salvage this marriage. They want to restore this marriage. They are willing to. You can see it in their expression. They wish it never happened. Okay? I want to assume that is the situation. Now, hope, by the way, we can actually, that's what this what this program is all about, to help you. If you are in that situation, we can help you. Family Aspect is designed for this purpose and many more. We can help you to get on and look beyond this situation. All right? So just continue. Get in touch later, but just continue listening. Now, right now, I'm speaking primarily to a situation where your spouse is willing to work things out. You see, both of you are willing to work things out. That's what I'm looking at, that primarily, that you guys are willing to work things out. Okay? And you are the one who is in the driver's seat about what happened next. You that has been hurt. You that was cheated on. You get it? You are the one that is on the driver's seat right now. You are the one who will determine what will happen next right now. Okay? So it is possible to make a change. The question is it? Yes, I'm telling you, it is. So is it possible that I can give you my reasons? I can share with you my reasons not to go through with the divorce, and you accept it? Would you want to listen? That's what this program is about. That's what this live stream is about. So I want you to understand something. This is very important. All right? This is very important. So I want to be able to share this with you. All right? I wanted to be able to share it with you. I know, as terrible as it is, that things happen the way it has happened. I understand the pain, the anger, the breaking of trust, the realization that what you thought you had, together, that love, that bond, it's not there. It's like it's no longer there. And you decide to give your spouse a second chance right now. Is that what you're thinking? And the right thing to put your marriage back together, you want to do the right thing. You want to be on the right course. If that's what you want, that's what we are doing right now. We want to help you understand the possible way. Okay, the possible way. So meaning that you will deal with what happened in the right way, rebuild your marriage on the right basis. You see, I want to help you. You will deal with the marriage or deal with the situation of the cheating in the right way, and then build your relationship up, build your marriage back up. Your marriage can be better. It can be better than it was before. Remember this. It can be better. That is because it won't be the same marriage you had before. What you'll be having is a new way of doing things. It will have a beautiful things that has been there before, but you have a lot of improvement in it. You see, that's what this is all about. But I want to share these reasons with you so that you will think along with me. Okay, I want you to think along with me. Let me look at your comments coming in the comment section. All right, shout out to you guys. You're welcome. I only have 2 people here already. Okay, now share this video. Let's go. Let's share this video, everyone. Let's go. Let's get started. We need to get started. Okay, we need to get started. All right. So Now, let me begin to share with you some of my reasons. I want to begin to share with you some of my reasons. Consistency Play says this is one of the, oh, this one is difficult one, host. He said it's difficult. Okay. What do you mean it's difficult? She says, I thought I was a premier. I was in premier. No, it wasn't a premier at all. It wasn't a premiere. This is not a premiere, it's a live stream. She said, this one is difficult one, host. It's not. Just listen. Listen to us. It's not difficult at all. Trust me. It's not difficult at all. Oh dear. It's not difficult at all. And I believe that there's so much to it, okay? So let me try as much as possible and help you guys get it, all right? Now, should you divorce a spouse who cheated on you? Well, like I said, you have the right to do it. You could, you should if you want to. But there's a lot more. There's a lot more. It's not just running away and say, I don't want to continue like that. No, there's a lot more. Let me share some thoughts with you here. First of all, I want you to understand that the relationship itself is a commitment. Remember that, is a commitment. For better and for worse. You started out to say that you will stay with this man or woman for better and for worse. And you said you will stay till death do you part. That was your lawful commitment. It was a law you made. You agreed. When you made that statement, when you agreed to agree to that vow, you sign it into law in the presence of your witnesses who were there, in the presence of your creator who oversees everything. You don't need him to be present to witness. You don't need to invite him there. Whether you were conducting the marriage in under the ocean, he will still see it. So as far as you were conducting the marriage in the face of the earth and you signed in for that vow, you actually opt into a law. A law has been signed. And between you and your spouse, that law exists. And between your spouse and you and God, that law exists. Make no mistakes about it. So, understanding that is very important. Now, let me begin to share the reason why you shouldn't. Why you shouldn't. Why you shouldn't. Having laid that foundation, this is my thought. Why you shouldn't. Now, you agree with me. You may agree with this. You may disagree. I understand. That's fine. It's okay. All right. But here's my opinion. This is what I think. This is what I found out. This is what I think is acceptable. Now, number one reason why you should not divorce the person you cheated on is that this person, this divorce that you want to do, will expose you to become a cheater. Now, let me explain. First of all, you are innocent. The person cheated on you. You are innocent. But you want a divorce. You want to walk away from the marriage. Now, remember, divorce is separation. It's not dissolving a marriage. Divorce does not dissolve marriage, even though that is what it appears is doing, but it doesn't. What dissolves marriage is death. The death of the spouse. That's what dissolves marriage. In the eyes of God, in the eyes of the law, in the eyes of all witnesses, marriage That's why you hear whatsoever is joined together, let no man, God join together, let no man put asunder. You can't separate it except death. No man can put asunder or separate a married couple. Even though there are laws of divorces, laws written to divorce, of divorces everywhere. Listen, it does not actually mean that they are dissolving the marriage. By law, they have no right to dissolve the marriage, because except by death. That's why in the vow that you made, when you were making the marriage vow, maybe you should Google it, just search your marriage vows, how it's like. And the ones you read, you will discover it involves being together in good time and in bad times. That means for better and for worse. And also, it includes death being the only thing that separates you. You're going to be together till death do you part. That is by law. That is your vow. Do you know that your Creator holds you responsible for your vows? He holds you responsible for your vows. You are held accountable for what you vow. Make no mistakes about it. So the only thing that actually dissolve a marriage by law is death. Divorce means to divide. It means divorce divides, to separate, to put aside. That means to separate both of you from each other. So I could accept the fact that it is separation. So when you say, oh, I want it to be separate, I can accept that. But it doesn't terminate the marriage. It doesn't dissolve the marriage. And now here is what it does. When you do that, you go through and you say, I want to go through divorce. When you do that, you expose yourself to becoming a cheater. Why? Because after you walk away from that marriage, one of the next temptation, the first major temptation you will have, is to start seeking another relationship. And you seeking another relationship, remember, you are separated. The marriage is not dissolved, because you are, by law, you are bound to that man that you marry or to that woman that you marry. By law, you're bound to that man, except death. That's what you said. You said till death do you part. That's what you agreed. And by law, that agreement stands. So the only thing that will save you from not being a cheater yourself is when you have to abstain from relationship, abstain from getting into another marriage, abstain. And that a lot of people don't have consideration of. So divorce exposes you to become even a cheater. So you become actually guilty of what you are accusing the man or the woman that cheated on you in the first place. So you become guilty of that same thing. That's the reality. That's number one. If you agree with me, leave your comment on the comment section. If you have question, ask. There's nothing wrong. But logically, think of it. Think of it. Okay. I'll read. Maybe I might give you some idea later about this. This is very important. I'll explain more into this later. Now, number two reason is that you are totally separated. When you go through divorce, you are totally separated from your partner's life. And you are disconnected from everything that connects both of you in the first place. And when this happens, things can go things can never be the same again, can no longer be the same again. That means the people you knew through your union with your husband or wife, the businesses you had through your union or husband or wife, the friendship you made through your union with your husband or wife, all of these things that you guys got connected with, just because both of you became husband or wife, you become separated. You are disconnected from those things, from those influences. And that alone can cause emotional trauma. That alone can lead to mental disorder, disconnection. That alone can lead to depression of the highest order, disconnection. So a lot of things get disconnected. Emotionally, you're disconnected. Physically, you're disconnected. And mentally, you're disconnected. That alone is traumatizing. I just want you to think with me on this line, all right? Think with me right now. Then another thing, the third reason, I'm going to explain further, but I'm just giving the points. The third reason, you are completely separated from your children, emotionally, physically, and mentally. When you go through the divorce, you say, I'm going because XYZ, you cheated, or because this and this happened. You are signing in for this. First, you're separated from your children. The connection you have between you and your family and your children, that bond is broken. You find yourself, that's why you find some people, they have to go through the courts, through lawyers, to be able to see their children. They have to go through a lot of things to be able to see their children once in a while, if they are given the opportunity to, depending on the situations, depending on the various circumstances that surrounds it. But what will necessarily happen when you sign that divorce paper is this: you are separated from your children. You are separated emotionally from them. If there is any children, if you have any children, it's not for everybody. But if those of you who have no children, every other point applies. But now, if you have children, this is something to consider. It's something to consider. And another point number 4, you sabotage your children's marital future, leaving them with no hope for love and trust. That is strong. That is strong. Many broken homes, many children today, many people today who are experiencing broken marriages is as a result of what they had experienced in growing up with their parents in their childhood. Because separation, divorce can sabotage the children's future. It can sabotage their marital future. Except something have to happen to help them along the line, it will definitely reflect, because there is no hope. The hope of them having a great marital future was you and your spouse was their only hope. The trust that they should have gained in their spouses when they grow old to get one was only going to be learned and gained from you and your spouse. So that will be sabotage. I can give you thousands of examples of broken people who are broken, who have moved from one relationship to another, and the reason why it is so. I can give you countless of examples of that. Then, number 5 reason why you shouldn't go through the divorce. I didn't say you cannot, but I'm saying why you should not. You could, if you want to. It's a choice. You could. You have the right to do it. But are you willing to sacrifice all of these things just for that? Number 4, I just said it will sabotage your children's marital future, leaving them hopeless, leaving them without trust in the future. You wonder why so many children grow up, they wouldn't trust a relationship. They wouldn't hold on to a relationship because of what they have gone through, is what they have been exposed to from their childhood. Now, number 5, the reason why you should never think of going through, especially if you have the capacity to withstand this, is you can never remarry. You cannot remarry except your partner dies naturally. That's the law. You cannot remarry except your partner dies naturally. Can you imagine that? You cannot remarry. You cannot. You say, but there are many people who remarry after divorce. Yes, they do. But that's the problem. They don't understand. They are doing it out of ignorance. Some of them who even knows that what they're doing, that they know that is wrong, they still go ahead and do it. They have their own punishment. That's fine. But understand something. It will never be the same. It will never be the same. You may get married to someone else now. Think about it. How long is it going to take you? Look at the stress and the trauma that you go through to try and build trust again. Try and get to know this new person. Try and get to adapt to his behavior, our behavior. Try and get to know whether it's going to be suitable for you. And then you are living with fear if maybe this person might also cheat on you. Maybe. That's the consequences of remarrying. When you remarry, you have this trauma of not experiencing what has happened before. You are living with a nightmare on a daily basis. If the guy or the woman coughs, you are like, oh, is this about to happen again? You're living in fear. You're living in so much, concern. No trust is being raised. You're be careful. And then all through the first few years in your second marriage, you are holding your heads in your hand. Your heart is almost all the time flushed down the toilet if anything happened. A slight move will just get you flushed as though something is about to quake now. You're living in fear, in trauma. So, even though that is the social way that people are doing it, but it's wrong. You are not supposed to. You are not allowed to remarry. If you divorce, you can divorce. You can walk away from the marriage. God said, no problem. I'm not against you leaving because your husband is abusive. I'm not against you leaving because your husband cheated on you or your wife cheated on you or your wife is abusive. I'm not against you leaving, but know something. You are not supposed to remarry except the man dies, except the woman dies a natural death. Now, I put that word dies naturally because some people might end up going doing the wrong thing by killing their spouse so that they can be free to go and marry. That is hilarious. That's terrible. You don't want to think about that. What this means is a natural death that takes place. The person had to die naturally. So imagine a person will last, maybe you're just young in your marriage now, you got married 3 years ago, 4 years ago, whatever, and then you're facing divorce right now, and both of you are still in your 40s. Maybe you are still in your 50s. And the person is supposed to, by God, supposed to have lifespan of about 90 years or 80 years. Think about it. And then you stay unmarried for 80 years. Just because somebody offended you and cheated on you. Or somebody was violent. Okay. We're going to talk about that of the violent aspect. That's why you see a lot of people. Now, I want you guys to understand why a lot of women are still hanging on to their marriage. Even though it is toxic. It is chaotic. And they are asking for help. And they are still holding on. Some women understand these things I'm sharing with you. Some do. But these new generational women that we're having, these New Yorker women, is ladies, these New Yorker ladies and men, they are not getting this. It's something we need to understand. You cannot remarry except your partner dies. That is what even the Bible accepts, God accepts. And your marital laws, your vows permit that. When you said, till death do us part, what you said is the only thing that can separate me and you as husband and wife is death. That's what you said. And that is in line with what God has agreed and put in place for marriage. They shall become one, not two, one. So in reality, you are not actually permitted to remarry. Except, now, there's a scripture like that I think I can put up. Look at it. Romans chapter 7, verse 3 to 5. It says, for example, by law, a married woman is bound to her husband as long as he lives. But if her husband dies, she is released from the law of marriage. You see, every law of marriage has it that it is bound by death. It is only separated by death. You are bound together except death separates you. Every marriage law has this. It's called the law of marriage. Who do you think that inspired that law? It's God himself that inspired the law, that gave men that idea. Because he's the one that instituted marriage in the first place. So he inspired that idea. So he says, by law, this is by law. It's called the marriage law. And I check our own marriage law in United Kingdom and all over the places. I've been comparing them. They are the same. It is the same thing. The marriage law states you are together in sickness and in health, in good times and in bad times, all right? Then you are together till death do you part. That's the main emphasis on that law. Till death do you part. And if that is true, then it just corresponds with what we're reading now from your Bible. So he says, so then if she marries another man while her husband is still alive, she is called an adulteress. If she marries another man while her husband is still alive, why would she marry another man? Because she thinks that she have a divorce paper. I'm divorced. So I am divorced. I'm no more with him. He has given me a divorce paper. But she says you cannot marry another man. Because if you do, you are adulteress. Now, that shows that anyone who does remarry after they've been married and they are the man who divorced them or the woman who divorced them is still alive, both man or woman remarries another person, they are all both committing they are all adulteress. One is adultery, they are all so you can see where the problem is. So we have many people who are adulteress. We have many people who are committing adultery everywhere. And God is not happy about it because he's the one that judge anyway. So he's the one that have punishment for everyone. Or remember that whether or not you do the right thing, everyone has his own place. But in reality, this is what it means. So if somebody go against this, let me read more. I think there's more. Then it now says, but if her husband dies, she is released from that law and is not an adulteress, even though she remarries another man. You see that now? That's the condition. That's the condition. So she is released only if her husband dies or the woman dies. It's vice versa. Remember that. Now, even if divorce is in certain circumstances, were acceptable by God. We found out that there are in many, like Jesus said, that except uh, through fornication. He says no one is expected to divorce their spouse except through except by the condition of fornication. Now he used the word fornication. The King James used the word fornication, means that word doesn't mean, it didn't say except by adultery. It never said except by adultery. It said except by fornication. Now the word adultery is actually coined from a situation where a married person gets engaged with another person sexually. That is adultery. But when it's fornication, it means that it's not in a situation of a marital state at the moment, but it is about to. In other words, at this moment, in the Jewish custom, if you study carefully, in the Jewish law, before they marry, they have to engage. Like you read how Joseph engaged Mary. And then automatically, the Bible recognized them as husband and wife. You see, they were called husband and wife, even though they haven't done the marital full rights, but they were engaged. So as long as a man or woman is engaged to marry, in the Jewish law, they are called married couples. They see them as already married. Okay? Now, in that phase, Jesus said, if a man cheat or a woman cheat in that condition, it's fornication. Because it means that you have left your supposed to become man or husband to you or wife to you to get involved into someone else. Now, that's a long explanation I can give on that, but this live stream will not help me to do that today. But I'm just giving you a tip just to understand what I'm sharing with you now. Okay? So, let's say there are many instances. God didn't permit people, like Moses gave them certificates of divorce. Why? Because the men were wicked. The people were heartless. So just to leave them, to have them come out of that mystery. That's why I said I do not suppose or support any marriage where the husband or wife is violent, and then I will now say stay there. What if the man kills you? What if the woman kills you? I'll be responsible for telling you to stay there. So in reality, you can go through separation, but you cannot remarry. The only clause in it is that you are not permitted. You can go out of the divorce, out of the toxic relationship, out of the toxic marriage, and then begin from a distance, support the man or woman to recover, so that you have your husband's back. And that's why you see a lot of people today are doing programs on get your spouses back, how to get back to your spouse, how to get back. Why are they talking about getting back? Because they know it is only it's only the place you have. That's your domain. That's your place. And leaving your home is devastating, is destroying. You see, you may never have the rest that you want to experience in your life until you go back home. So in reality, this is true, even in the social arena. All right? In the social arena. So let's assume that in some cases, God permits divorce and it's accepted. We know that, which is number one, if you decide to say, I don't want to get married to you because you cheated on me. All right. God said, that's fine if you don't want to continue, but you cannot remarry. You have to abstain, because if you remarry, you will become a cheater. Why? Because the man that you marry is not dead. The woman that you got married to, she's not dead. She's still alive. By law, you said, till death do you part. That's what you said. You said it, that till death do you part, for better and for worse. That's what you agree on. And again, I just read to you from the Bible that it is a marriage law. God puts it there in every country that they should have it as a law. That is only death that will separate a married man from a married woman. Now we see now that the laws are changing because human beings have started putting in their own things in it. All right. But in the original state, a man and a woman that is married, only thing that can separate them, the only thing that dissolve that marriage is death. Death. So this thing we call divorce is separation. It's not dissolve. Divorce doesn't mean dissolve as we think. The marriage is still active. You may be divorced for 20 years and be married to 5, 4, 6 people. It doesn't matter. Your original man who was your first husband is still your original husband in the eyes of God and the eyes of the law. Make no mistakes about it. If that man or woman is still alive. So the only thing that separates you is death. Let me read your comments. The only thing that separates you is death. All right. Cynthia, thank you. You're welcome, guys. Consistent says, still here, host. Thank you. Remarriage is adored. Yes, that's true. Yes, host, you see. Let me read. Yes, host, you said still till death do us part. And out of a sudden, it is God's will to remarry. God help you. No. Listen, I didn't say it's God's will for you to remarry. That's not what I said. Okay? I never said it's God's will for you to remarry. A man can decide to remarry. God never said you should remarry. God said, I read the scripture to you now. Let me read it again so you pay attention. All right? I'm very clear about what I said. Listen attentively. Now, I read this scripture to you. For example, it says, by law, a married woman is bound to her husband as long as he lives. As long as he lives, by law. But if her husband dies, she is released from the law of marriage. That is the only condition when she can remarry. When the husband dies. But as long as the husband is alive, she is bound by that law of marriage not to remarry. Look at it. It says, so then, if she remarries another man while her husband is still alive, she is called an adulteress. Is that clear? Good. Then he said, but if her husband dies, she is released from that law and is not an adulteress, even though she marries another man. You get it now? So the only condition, what I'm saying is, we have a lot of people today, and this, I know this is the last point that actually will get a lot of people thinking, because the last point is, you cannot remarry except your partner dies naturally. If you're divorced, once you're divorced, there's nothing wrong. You can divorce if you want to, but you cannot remarry. Except the man who got married to you or the woman who got married to you dies. That is the law. Because you said, till death do you part. That's what you said. You said so. You agreed that you're going to be together for better and for worse, in sickness and in health. Until death do you part. That's what you agreed on. So you said for better and for worse. That's what you said. And in reality, why would you not leave when the man cheated or when the woman cheated? Does that mean that it's now encouraging people to cheat? No, it does not encourage people to cheat. But in reality, it is unfortunate, it is saddening, it is heartbreaking to see that a spouse would do that. But if they did, what will happen? Either you rebuild your marriage if the man or woman is willing to change. I want you to understand that. If they accept their wrongs and they are willing to change, then you can begin to consider forgiveness. Okay? That's the point. But if they are not willing to change, I'm not saying you should live in such a toxic relationship. If they are not willing to change, I'm not saying you should remarry and get divorced and remarry. No. you have to follow the principles. Okay, let me read you what you're saying. Okay, you said it was typo. Okay, typo. Okay, typographical error, right? Host, I agree with your point. Okay, good. Yeah. All right. I thought you didn't get me there. What if he remarries? Yes, I just explained, Phillips. If he remarries, if the husband is still alive, or the woman, the wife is still alive, if she remarries or he remarries, they are committing adultery. And adultery before God, who created them, is wrong. And no one will inherit the kingdom who is an adultery, an adulteress, or idolater, or do you call it adulterers, or whatever. You get it? Now, Philip says, with frequent adultery, does he not expose her to the possibility of HIV and STD? Of course, we know that. That's why she cannot. That's why Jesus said, I think I should read that verse of scripture again to you guys so that you understand. I hope I can get it for you. Now, Jesus said, if it says, remember, a servant, he said, if a servant, let me just give you the scripture. I hope I get it. He said, if a servant who, that's Luke chapter 12, verse 47 to 48. He said that a servant who knows his master's will, and does not get ready to do what his master's will is. He said that servant will be beaten with many blows, with many stripes. He said, but the one who does not know and does the things he deserves, he said, will be punished with and beaten with few blows, with few whips. What does that mean? There are many people today who are doing it, who gets remarried because they don't know that it is wrong biblically. You that is a Christian, you that is a child of God, you know that it's wrong to remarry. So if you go ahead and remarry when your husband is still alive, the man who cheated on you is still alive, or the woman who cheated on you is still alive, and you go ahead to remarry, then you will be committing adultery. And guess what? You will be flogged with many stripes, with many blows, because you know what the will of your father is, but you refuse to do it. Then in that says, but the person who does not know the will of the father, who doesn't know what he was supposed to do, who is ignorant, he will still not escape it. Both of them will still be punished. You see now? So you may think, well, there are people who are remarrying and they are going away with it. No, they may go away with it in the eyes of the law, in the human eyes, okay? But in their creator's eyes, they are punishable. Is reality. Everyone understand that. That's simple. Okay. Now, that's why I shared with you that there are things that can be done. So that's why it is a deep thought. To go through these things is a deep thought. It's something that you cannot just wake up and say, I'm going to do. That's why we help people to work on their marriage. We help people to work hard to make things work in their marriage. No matter what is going on, marriage is work. You have to put all effort to ensure that you are together and things are moving forward, and you're praying and studying and learning to improve your character, your manner, the way you do things. Continuously do self-assessment. Look inward and see, are you doing anything that is wrong? Are you doing anything that is right? Improve yourself. Develop yourself personally as a husband, as a wife, to ensure that your family holds together. Because you see, divorce is not a choice. Like I always tell people, it's worse than death. It's worse than death. Even if you listen to what I've said so far, you discover that divorce is worse than death. Imagine a man who just got divorced at the age of 40. And for the rest of his life, according to God's law, if he was going to have favor in the last day before God, before his creator, if he's not going to be condemned before his creator, then he had to abstain. He had to coordinate himself to abstain from relationship, from marital sexual activities. He has to abstain completely. Maybe it's supposed to live longer than 70 years, 80 years, or 50 years. Or more. Well, let me say 50 years is short. I'm talking about 80 years or maybe even 100 years. He was supposed to live longer. Can you imagine? He got divorced at the age of 40. So the remaining, The remaining 60 years of his life is abstinence. He can't touch a woman. He can't get to a woman. He can't marry. That's suffering. That's death. That's worse than death now. It's worse than death. For my own understanding, that's worse than death. That's heavy. It's worse than death. Let me read your comments. Truly, it is deep thought. Yes, it's a very deep thing. It's a deep thought. Host, I like this passion. Thank you. Awesome. It's reality. So you need to understand these things. That's why we help people to help get their marriage strong. We educate them. We try to bring this information in to help people. That's why we started this channel, Family Aspect. It is the drive. It is a passion. We see these things happening, and it hurts. It breaks our heart. But you see, to learn these principles is to guide you to be able to know that, okay, what if, now remember, another condition I want to bring in now that will permit a woman or a man to be free to marry another person. I want to bring it to you. Now, he said to the marriage, I want to look at this. To the marriage, I give this command, not I, but the Lord. Not I, but the Lord. A wife must not separate from her husband. Did you see that? Is the word must. A wife must not separate from her husband. But if she does, she must remain unmarried. Look at it. It's in your Bible. You can Google it. These things I'm thinking, you can Google it. It's right there. Right on your phone, just Google it. You see the same thing. He said, but if she does, if she separates, let me read it again. He says, 1 Corinthians 7:10 to 11. To the married, I give this command. To you who is married, he said, I'm telling you this. But I'm not the one talking. It's God that gave this command. This is command from God. He says, a wife must not separate from her husband. It must not separate from her husband. But if she does, she must remain unmarried or else be reconciled to her husband. You see why we talk about getting back to your spouse, how to get back your spouse, how to save your marriage. You see why we talk about it? Because by law and according to God, if you divorce your wife or husband, you are not supposed to marry. And if you cannot stay unmarried, he said, go back to your husband. Go back to your wife. It's a serious thing, guys. This is serious. This is not an easy thing. This thing is for adults, and that's what I'm sharing with adults now. This is serious. You need to understand this. This is very, very serious. You see it now? Very, very serious. Now, there's another condition. Yes, let me see if you are asking a question. This is tough. Philip, I know. This is tough. Then he says, host, I just like that you are basing on the Holy Scripture. Yeah, because I'm using, this is where the thing is. This is where the truth is. This is where the truth is. You have to base it on the truth. This is where the truth is. All right? This is where the truth is. Forget about what these people are telling you on different channels. Do this, do that. No. The truth is, if you watch some of my videos, I tell people, if you're going through toxic marriage, get out. But I never tell them not to remarry, because I know many of them, they just think, oh, if I get out, I can go now and live my life and then have fun. No, there are conditions, there are clauses. God doesn't say you should not divorce, but God hates it. You see, he didn't say don't divorce. He said, I hate it. There are two different things. He said God hates divorce. He didn't say don't divorce. Otherwise, if he said don't divorce, Moses wouldn't have been giving them certificates of divorce anyway. You get it? And there won't have been certificate of divorce today. But God hates it because many people don't understand the consequences. God hates it because of what it does. So he says, now here's what I'm going to do. If you divorce your wife or husband, he says, don't remarry. Because if you remarry, you become a cheater. You yourself will become a cheater. You become a victim of what you accuse someone else of. You say, how? Because your husband, your wife, you cannot leave them and marry another person except by death. The only reason you can get married to them, another person, is when that person who you've originally married to is dead. Otherwise, you have to abstain. As long as that person is alive, you abstain. If you could not stay, if you could not abstain and leave, he said, go and get back to your husband. Go back to your wife. Go and get married. Reconcile. I just read it. Look at it. Else be reconciled to her husband. Else be reconciled. So here are my takes. There are so many more I can share with you. But you see, I'm reserving it for a special group of people where we're going to go deeper. All right? Deep. And then we'll dissect the whole thing. And now, if you are interested in that, you want to get into that, let me know on the comment section. I'm going to put you up in a special group. Every weekend, we'll dive into these things. Whatever question you have, we're going to dissect them on this regards. Trust me, you need to know. And how you can stay and hold on your marriage strong. We want to talk about all of that. I'm going to create a special group. I want you to get ready. I'm creating a special group for it. And everyone who's interested will join that group. And then we'll be meeting every week. Every weekend or so, we'll be sharing some information, and I can give you some tips, do some videos and put on there, and then you watch it and then improve yourself. Most of those things will never come on YouTube. Trust me. There are many things there that I can put on YouTube because there's so much. Now look at this. This guy said, Phillips, if I do not see a burning bush during winter, then I will not say yes to a marriage proposal. What is a burning bush now? Philip, tell us, what do you mean by that? Then consistent place is getting out of a home. Sometimes can be an opportunity to work on yourself. Exactly. That's what separation does. To go work on yourself so that you can reconcile to your partner. So the man is supposed to, there's nothing wrong to separate us. You know what? I want us to be apart for now. It could be 1 month, it could be 2 months, it could be 3 months. But that doesn't mean you cannot remarry that man again. Because you cannot marry another person either. That's a choice you have to make. So if you tell your husband, I want to abstain, I want to stay. You know what Jesus said? He said, if you do that, just because you can abstain, you have made your wife who cannot stay to go and commit adultery. If she go ahead and commit adultery, the same problem, the same offense that she commits will be on you. Remember that. Okay, I haven't mentioned that part yet. I'm trying to go deeper, but I thought I was going to share this with the group. Oh dear. Trust me. You know, Jesus said so. Let me read what you guys are saying before I bring that scripture up. Okay, so yes. Consistent place says at Mega I Phillips, you need to see the hand of God in a relationship before you take it to the altar. Also, yeah. Then they say, I mean that I will be a sign. There will be a sign that God wants me to marry that particular man. Okay, go and watch Preparing for Marriage series. Okay. Now in this special group, Philip. Listen, in this special group, I'm going to be holding. All right. A lot of people are going to be coming in, so be ready. In this special group I'm going to be holding, I'm going to be talking about certain things, especially those who are not married. Preparing for marriage, there's going to be a section in that group where those who are wanting to get married or planning to get married and how to get them ready. You see, that's what we're here for, to help you know what to do, know the right person to follow, know the right person to be with. You can know it. It's not difficult. The signs are everywhere. Trust me. It's just the eyes to be open. Once your eyes is open, remember God said to Paul, he said, I want you to open their eyes. and turn them from darkness to light. You see, so there's got to be an opening. The thing is there. A lot of people don't see it, but you got to, once your mind is open to it, and you say, what? You mean this thing is there? Oh, that's nice. That's what we do. We want to help you open your eyes to see it. You know that these signs are there. It's not difficult to know the right person. The right person has been there a long time around you. It's just that you didn't know it. You can see it. All right. Okay. All right. So that's it. That's exactly. Thank you, Phillips. That's the point. So I want you to know the signs are clear. So let me go over to what I've shared with you, because I want you to understand that this is very important. First, if you divorce and you divorce that person, that divorce exposes you to become a cheater. There's no way you cannot be. Because if you remarry, if you get into another relationship, you are now an adulterer or adulteress. So in that position, you are a cheater yourself, even though you accuse the man of cheating. Immediately you start seeing another man, because you are now on your way out. You say, we are separated, so I can see another man. Oh, you just became a cheater. Oh, you didn't know? You just became a cheater. There are a lot of people who doesn't want to hear this kind of truth. But guess what? In that day, where you come out of this physical body, and then you go and meet the one who gave you life, that day you realize that, oh, I missed it. I didn't understand. Oh, they were trying to tell me this thing. All right. Now look at this. You are totally separated from your partner's life and disconnected from everything that concerns or that connects both of you. And when this happens, things can no longer be the same again. That's what divorce do. It separates you from everything. It disconnects you from everything. And then makes you miserable, frustrated. You may pretend as though everything is fine. Oh, maybe you should talk to those who are already divorced. It's never the same. They keep trying to make it work. That's why you hear a lot of people, they married 3 times. They married 4 times. They married 2 times. Why these numbers? It's because they don't understand that it's no longer going to be the same after the first attempt. Once you make that first mistake, that first divorce, it can never be the same again. Things changed, except you reconcile. Now, you ask your question, guys. Please ask your questions, because I'm trying to get your questions across to everyone that will be watching this video now. You are completely separated from your children, emotionally, physically, and mentally. Of course, we agree with this. When divorce happens, a lot of times only one parent takes custody of the children. And then it becomes difficult for the other parent to visit the children. It becomes a task. And it causes a lot of fight and quarrel, a lot of resentment and hatred. And the children can see these things. And that leads to the next point, which is you sabotage your children's marital future, leaving them with no hope for love and trust. That is terrible. And we have seen a lot of women and men who were raised under this condition. Their parents were not together. They witnessed the fight, constant fight and quarrel. And they grew up with a home that was, dysfunctional, separated, disoriented home. And now they are not living like that to raise a family. And it's becoming toxic. You see? And this is the reason. Because their parents sabotage their marital future without knowing. When you divorce your spouse, this is what happens. You sabotage. If you have children, you will sabotage their marital future. You may think that is not true, but that is what happens. Unknowingly to you, it happens. Then another thing I mentioned, which is the last thing, you cannot remarry. And this is the strongest key. I left it to the last because it's the strongest. If you divorce anybody that you married to by law, you cannot remarry another person except the person dies a natural death. Don't go and plan to kill the person. You will not even go. That is even the worst crime to do. You see, that's the worst crime to do. You think people are not doing it? There are a lot of people who are doing that. There are a lot of people who are doing that. You've heard a lot of people who killed their husband, who killed their wives. What do you think they were thinking? Let me just end this man's life so I can move on. Let me end this woman's life so I can move on. Otherwise, as long as they leave, they will destroy my life. I can't move forward. But that's wrong. And they get in trouble for it. Anyway, we know that the law always catch up with those who do such things. All right. So that's the last point. And I read some of that scriptures to you. So watch this video again to get. Let me look at your comments so far. Oh boy, there's a lot here. And yes, Antonia said, please host. Can you explain this? Okay, explain what, please? You need to bring it. Okay, I'm coming. Then he says, Philip says, do you have in-depth knowledge of spiritual spouse? Spiritual spouse? Oh dear. I'll tell you more about that in that special group. But again, I can give you more light. Let me come back to it. Okay. I'll just say one or two things concerning that. All right. Give me a minute. All right. At Consistent Place says, Philip, I also have a video of 10 signs you are not ready for marriage on my page. Awesome. Visit Consistent Place and then look for that video. All right. And in addition to that, go to my playlist, Preparing for Marriage. Is a lot of videos there. It will help you just to start with. And add this one to it. 10 signs that you are not ready for marriage yet. All right. Then at Family Aspect, this is exactly the truth people must hear. Exactly. That's what we're here for. Okay. Matthew chapter 35 verse 30. Okay. Look at the verse. She said, Atona said, it's been said, anyone who divorces his wife must give her a certificate of divorce. Okay. Yeah. Then that says, but I tell you that anyone who divorces his wife, except for sexual immorality, I want you to listen, except for sexual immorality, all right, makes her the victim of adultery. And anyone who marries a divorced woman commits adultery. Can you put the 33 verse? If you have the 33 verse, put it up. I want to read it to them too. If you're there, put up the 33 verse. Okay. Now let's go back. Put up the 33 verse. If you have it, put it there, please. Now I will explain this. This is very interesting because this is what I wanted to expatiate on in the group. But let me just say it. All right. Put it the 33 verse. Or probably let me open it here so you guys can see it. Now, this is good because I'm answering your questions now. These are questions and answer section already. Let me just open it. Matthew 5. Matthew 5. You guys are there, so let's read together. So Matthew 5:31. Okay. Now it says, but I say unto you that whosoever shall put away his wife, saving for the cause of fornication. For the cause of fornication. And in that, what she said here, according to translation, she says sexual immorality. It says saving for the cause of fornication, all right, causes her to commit adultery. And whosoever shall marry her that is divorced commits adultery. Now, I want you to notice two things there. There are two things there. First, the man divorced the wife because the wife or the woman cheated. That's correct. Nothing wrong if you want to. Like I said, God didn't say you should not divorce the person if you want to, but don't remarry. That's the point we want you to hear. Because if you say you want to go, you can't repair the marriage. You can't forgive the person. Okay, God say fine. You can't remarry. Now look at it. He says, but I say to you that whosoever shall put away his wife, saving for the cause of fornication, that means sexual immorality. All right, sexual immorality. It says, makes her the victim of the adultery. So first, in other words, Jesus is saying she could be innocent, but you accuse her that you are leaving her because she commits adultery. Now, she could be innocent. If she is innocent, you have made her to commit adultery by pushing her away. Then he says, what if the person is not innocent? He said, you cause her to commit adultery, and he says, and. The word is and. He didn't say or either. He said, and whosoever. shall marry her. Anybody, whether single man or married man before, shall marry her. He says, commits adultery. He didn't say she that is put away. No. He said, whosoever, any man or woman that married, any man, whether single or married before, and married this woman that has been put away by this man who claims that she cheated. He said, this woman who is put away, any man who marries her, whether single, he said, whosoever. Whosoever means any male. It doesn't matter whether the male is single or the male is married. Any male who married her, the male who married her is committing adultery. Not the woman now, but the male. But if the husband push her away, the husband already giving her the permission to go and commit adultery. That's what Jesus said there. And in addition to that, anybody that marries her also commits adultery. What does that mean? It means she knows that, look, I'm going ahead to make somebody commit adultery. I should not do it. So if somebody should come to you and say, oh, I want to marry you, and you say, well, I'm a divorcee and I can't marry, and the person, oh, really? Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. But if you go ahead and marry that person, you knowingly make that man who married you commit adultery. And the man who gave you a divorce paper has caused you to commit adultery. Are you seeing the picture here? So Jesus didn't say, well, you should not divorce anybody, but he's telling the consequences in this verse. That's what he said. Then he now says, whosoever shall marry her that is divorced. You see? Whosoever shall marry her that is divorced commits adultery. Then verse 33, again, ye have heard that it has been said by them of old time, thou shalt not forsake thyself, but shalt perform unto the Lord thy oaths. You see? Now, you see that? In other words, you have an oath. You have a vow. You are supposed to keep to your vow. That's why I said every marriage comes with a vow. That vow includes till death do you part. Jesus said you are supposed to keep to that vow. And the fact that you're not keeping to that vow, then it doesn't show that you are keeping to the law of God. So if you keep to that vow, it's supposed to be till death do you part. Not because of the man cheated or the woman cheated. That should separate you. Or that should dissolve the marriage. All right. I believe that question has been answered in a bit. Philip, are you still there? Philip, back to you. If I answer the question right, you can throw up another one if that's not really satisfying, but that's what he said. You can see the question. You can see that it's very clear what he said. Very clear. He said, but I tell you that anyone who divorces his wife except for sexual immorality makes her the victim of a, you see, you make her. So assume, yes, you divorce the wife because she commits sin. Okay, fine. But you make her to become a victim of adultery. She is now a victim of adultery. What does that mean? It means that because it says anyone who marries a divorced woman commits adultery. So she has become a victim. So she, if she's married, commits adultery. Then the man who married her will commit adultery. That's what Jesus was telling them. And then he said, wait a minute, where is it? Oh dear. Okay, yeah, I've already read that. So you see the picture. That's exactly what he's saying there. So in other words, yeah, I know a lot of people use that verse of scripture to give excuses that God said we should remarry. He didn't say you should remarry. No, he said, yeah, if you want to divorce, that's fine. But in the beginning, it was not so. He said, God made it male and female, that they to be one. He said, for this cause shall a man leave his father and his mother and be cleaved to become one with his wife. Inseparable. Oneness, inseparable. So he began to tell them these things that I just read to you. Yes, I'm fine. Divorce, okay. Remarriage, no, thanks. Yeah, that's the key. That's the key. So if you don't want to, if you can't abstain, you can't keep to yourself for the rest of the life that you think you're going to spend, if you know any. Let's assume you are aware that you're going to spend another 40 years of your life and you got divorced, or you're planning, you may be planning now to get divorced, and you've been divorced for when you were 40 years old or 30 something, or even within your 40s, early 40s. Something happened and you go ahead and divorce. But in reality, if you're going to spend 80 years of your life on earth, think about it. You mean you can stay in this world, this particular world, with all this social media, with all this TV, with all this internet? You mean you can stay without? Even those that do, not make no mistakes about it. There are those that can abstain. I know there are men and women who can really abstain for reality. They can stay without being in a relationship, without even thinking of any sexual relations or any intimate thing. They can abstain. All right. There are a lot of women and a lot of men like that, but it's very rare, especially in this world we're in. In this world we're in, it's very rare. There are, but it's not common. There are, but they are not visible. They are hidden. And they don't even talk about it because you can question them. Are you human being? Are you not a human? Don't you have blood flowing in your veins? You get it? So these are the things that people look into. So I believe I've been able to answer this question. So if you have any, yes, let me see. But if he is not repentant and I can't abstain, okay, that's a good one. First of all, but if she is not repentant, or if he is not repentant and I can abstain, okay. First, there is only one law I like to bring to your notice. I will not be able to, maybe I will be able to bring the verse up. Let me see if I'll be able to get the verse of scripture up. I think it's when Paul advised the woman. I think it's in Titus. I think. Let me see if I'll be able to get that verse of scripture. Is it Titus? No, not Titus. It's in Peter. Yes. Let me read to you First Peter to answer your question. It's in First Peter chapter. Let me believe I can get there. I know this is not supposed to be a Bible study section, but because of the question that is coming up, I like to answer this quickly. Okay. Now, let me just, I hope I can put it up here so you'll be able to see. Just one phrase, yeah? And I wanted to see this. It's right here. Let me just put it here so you can see it. Okay, look at this. Look at this verse. First Peter chapter 3, verse 1. Wives, in the same way, be submissive to your husbands, so that if any of them do not believe the word, is not repentant, does not believe the word, then it now says, they also may without the word be won by the conversation of your lives. Okay, let me bring that up fully. All right, I should be able to bring that up fully. I thought I'll get, let me just show you the full verse so that you get it. Okay, now that verse of scripture didn't say you should run away, but it says you have something to do with your life. So it says you got to do something to help. Now, if the man cannot be helped, that's where you come in. That's what I'm trying to do now. If the man cannot be helped, then it now says, where did I stop? Okay. Now it says, by doing so, they might be won You might want to win them back to Christ through the example of their own changed life. So your own changed life, you have a life to live. So it says you win them back with your changed life. Now, let's say, according to your question, what if he's not repentant and I can't abstain? That's where you find a lot of people are mainly. You feel this man that is not changing, and then you yourself, you cannot abstain. There's no way you can live without remarrying. All right. Now, in this condition, you can separate, but if you cannot abstain, then you have to learn to abstain. Because if you can't cope, if you can't cope, can a man who the Lord has handed over to a reprobate mind be won by his wife's conduct? Oh my God, Oscar. A man who has, first of all, there is one place in the scripture, I'm trying to remember now. And when Paul said, listen, Paul said, if you get married to an unbeliever and the unbeliever wants to leave the marriage, he says you can let the man go or the woman go. If the unbeliever refuses to change, he says you can go. And then the marriage law is not binding. That's what Paul said. These are the things I wanted to talk about in the group. You guys are just bringing it out from me. I didn't want to talk about this because that's the detail of it, to give you a ground understanding. But in reality, Paul said, if you get married to an unbeliever, in the first place, you are not supposed to get married to somebody who is not in the same faith line with you, doesn't believe God, and is not a Christian. God doesn't permit that. God hates it. He said, do not be equally yoked. Equally yoked there means don't be one with them. Don't be yoked in a way by committing to be sexually available for this person. That's where the yoke, that's the bonding. It's talking about being bond. Do not be equally bonded. You see, the only way you can be bonded that God recognizes as marriage is through sexual activity, marital sexual activity. So if you get bonded with that person, it says you are not supposed to be. It says you are bonding yourself with a harlot. So those who do not believe God, in the Bible, in the Old Testament, they were referred to harlots. So if you study very carefully, you discover that many of them in the Bible, Old Testament time, God forbid Israel for associating with those who do not believe in him. So, and then he forbid them from marrying from them, getting married or marrying to them. He was severely against it. Why? Because their belief system is different. Their culture is different. And if you come in with the kingdom culture, with the godly mindset, it's gonna backfire. There's gonna be a conflict. Especially it's worse when the woman, the man is the one that is actually a reprobate mind, like you said. The one who has been left to be for his life because he refused to change. It is worse in a marriage where only the woman is a Christian and the man is not. It's a terrible thing. But there's room. Paul said you can change him if your good character will be able to help. So live a life that is good, because in the sight of God, God sees that the marriage is holy because you are a Christian. So your holiness has covered your children and your husband. So if a man is the only man that is holy, then you are not, the husband, the wife is not. God said, well, continue, live good a life. Your wife will change because your holiness can, at the long run, overpower the darkness or wickedness or sin of life of that person, and then the person will be holy. All right? He said, but if the unbelieving wife or husband do not want to stay, and they are tired, they are reprobate, they are not changing, and you decide to leave the marriage, Paul said, you are not held accountable, because in the first place, that marriage was not supposed to hold. Why? Because it is a marriage between someone who is saved by Christ and someone who is not. So is a bond between darkness and light. So the light must give way for the darkness to exist. So in most cases, you have to be the one to stay as a Christian, except the one who is a darkness doesn't want to stay. He wants you gone. God said, if you leave, you're free to go. You have no obligation. You can remarry, and that binding, that law does not hold you bound. That is the most exceptional aspect of remarrying. Why the person you married before is still alive. That's the only exception. And in most cases, in such marriages, such marriage doesn't even hold in churches or any. In most cases, they just meet and start doing stuff. But we have people who are pretending to be Christians. So they will come to church and pretend to be in a church or be in the settings of God. And they will just pretend. And then after they get married, they become the devil. And then they will tell you, look, I'm just the devil you do not know. Now, at that moment, you don't need to fight them. Just continue living your Christian life, like what I just read to you in 1 Peter chapter 1 verse 2, or chapter 3 verse 2, sorry. 1 Peter chapter 3 verse 2, I just read it to you. With your good life, just be living a normal, respect him as a husband, do the things you want to do as a wife or a husband, live, and then see if changes take place. But if he's still living wickedly and treating you bad and doing all sort of things to you, of course, if you are a very serious Christian, you should know that that man needs a deliverance. So you pray the devil out. All right? Go and watch War Room. There's a movie I want you to watch. For those of you watching, War Room is acted by a Christian movie, very powerful, from an American movie. It's called The War Room. All right? Go and do that. Because sometimes you need to know that that activity is not from God. So Satan is responsible for that manipulation. So you have the power to kick him out. Now, in the most places, you find out that it's difficult to do, or in other words, the man is not yielding, and he wants you out. If the person who is not a Christian is the one that wants you out of the marriage, God said, don't hesitate, pack your bags and go. And then you are free to remarry, because nothing is holding you bound, because he's the one that made the law in the first place. He's the one that said you are free to go. But if you marry a believer and you marry another believer and then you divorce and walk away, God said you cannot remarry. I don't know why he did that, but he said so. So Philip said, can a man who the Lord has handed? Yeah, I've already answered that. And now you're laughing. Did I answer your question? All right, guys. Any more question? Thank you so much, Christy. Consistent place. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you, Antonia, for your question. Phillips, thank you for being part of the show today. I really appreciate you guys. I believe this live stream has helped, and also encourage you guys to share this video. Share this video, because a lot of women, a lot of people need to know this. A lot of people need to know this. Trust me. People need to know this. Hey, yeah, you've watched it. Thank you. You watched War Room, yeah? Awesome. So I encourage people to watch. I encourage a lot of women to watch that, because that will give them an idea of what is possible. And it's true. Such things is possible. Yes, you do. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. So share this video. If this video has been a blessing to you, remember there are many million people that needs this video, that needs this information. Why not share it? Why not encourage them to listen? Because a lot of these days, people are so proud to listen. People are so proud to learn. You see, they are so busy, but they are proud to learn. That's the problem. That's the disadvantage that people have today. And it's an enemy. Pride is an enemy. Humble yourself and learn. These things are very informative, and they will help you, protect you, and guide you to sit down and take your relationship seriously. Take your relationship seriously. And that's what we do. This message has reminded me to take heed. Yeah. Yes, please do. Please do. So this is what we're here for. This is what we're supposed to. That's why we talk about these things like this. It's a special moment that everyone needs to remember. When these days people are just, wishing they didn't marry, just because your husband is snoring, you say you don't want to marry again. Can you imagine? You say the man snores. He snores. I can't marry this man. I'm out. A Christian. Really? You saw a text message from a woman on your husband's phone. So you saw a text message, now you want divorce. Eh? Or they say the man insulted you and insulted you. So the man doesn't take your advice. So you want to divorce. The woman doesn't like cooking. Because the woman doesn't like cooking, she doesn't want to cook. So you want to divorce her. Okay, she couldn't wash your clothes. You said the woman could not wash my clothes clean. And you want her gone. A Christian. So what? You can bring somebody who can wash your clothes. Somebody who will be bowing down and worshiping you. And then you think you are free as a Christian. No, you're committing adultery. And you are punishing that woman by letting her go to go and commit adultery. So there's someone, remember what Jesus said. I wish I can remember that. Yeah, I do. I remember. Listen, Jesus said something. He said, it is better for the person, for anyone who, for, that was, let me say, that was in place of Peter, what do you call it? Judas Iscariot, when it said that it was worse for that person to, oh, help me. I'm trying to remember that verse. I'm trying to remember the verse. I'm trying to remember. Let me remember. Okay, yes. It's in Luke chapter 17, verse 2. It says, it would be better for him to be thrown into the sea with a millstone tied around his neck than for him to cause one of these little ones to sin. Does that make sense? Luke chapter 17, verse 2. So anyone that divorced their wife because they did something wrong that is minor, or they even went ahead to commit treason like cheating, God said, remember, you are making that person to go and commit adultery. And you that make the man that divorced this woman, you cannot remarry. You also will commit adultery. So for making that woman commit adultery, and then making another man who will marry that woman to commit adultery, it says, a stone will rather be tied around your neck and than, put it in the sea. That means, when a huge stone is tied around somebody's neck and that stone is put into the sea, that means you will never come up. You will just drown and remain on the bottom of the sea. He said that life is better because of the results of making another person to commit sin, adultery, just by our actions. There are things we should take seriously. What I share with you now is a whole long idea of program that I should have presented on a very special forum. But you guys are getting this because you are special. And you got it out of me. A lot of you just asked the question and the thing came out. Awesome. So any other question, guys? If you have no other question, no comments. So I want you to watch this video again. Remember yourself what we have said and take heed. Like Philip said, he said, this message has reminded me to take heed. Yes, do take heed. And for those of you already in a relationship, take your relationship seriously. And if you want us to work with you as a person one-on-one, hey, get in touch right now. In the link description, there's an email address you can reach us with. Get to us quickly. Send me an email. Contact me, and I'll do a one-on-one program with you just for you. And we will help you and put your marriage in place. By God's grace, everything will work out well. All right? So this is my reason. This is my honest reason why you should not go through the divorce. This is my honest reason. And I've done my research all well enough for a long time to be able to come boldly to say this, because I look at all the social media, I look at all the videos, live stream, I say, my God, no one is talking about this. What are they saying? Some truths have to be said. And we find that people, there's a lot to say. So this is my reason why you should not go through the divorce. Should you divorce a spouse who cheated on you? Should you? What are your reasons? I've given my 5 reasons. Let me know your reasons in the comment section below. If you disagree with me, you have your reasons for doing it, let us know. Put it on the comment section below. Would like to get into such discussions with you. Now, if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, I want you to hit the subscribe button and hit the like button as well. And also hit the bell notification. You don't want to miss anything. We're going to be sharing more on this regard. Thank you guys for being here. I greet every one of you. Consistent Place, Phillips, Antonia, and all. I greet every one of you. Thank you. And I'm going to be off right now. I'll see you again in another video. Until then, keep your marriage safe and work hard on yourself. Bye for now.